Coming up, our second match will match Marty Craven against Bob Ladd, who was a tournament leader after yesterday's competition.
Bob is going to get a couple of practice balls on each lane before the game starts. He's been practicing over to our right. The lanes are just a little bit different in their oiling pattern. These lanes were oiled. Interesting thing about the lanes here, they strip their lanes on Fridays here at Bolorama, which means they take all the oil off. Then they oil regularly throughout the week. So yesterday they had less oil on them than they did today because they only had 1 day of oil buildup. This morning they oiled again, and then they oiled this pair again just before they bowled. So this pair is really double oil.
What was Bob's average during the week?
Bob averaged 198 for the finals. The final 12 games.
That's the same as Marty.
Same as Marty, only Bob was 8-4. Yesterday, in the match play, in the first 6 games, Bob won all 6 of his games and had a very big lead on the field. Except for Chip, who was reasonably close after being 5-1. But Bob went 2-4 today, and only shot 1150, which is 50 pins under a 200 average, roughly 198, which is certainly respectable, but not as good as he was yesterday.
We've already mentioned once what a great crowd we have here this Sunday afternoon.
I've bowled in this tournament an awful lot of years, and I don't remember a crowd this big. I think, again, a lot of credit has to go to Ted Demas and Chip Monday, who do most of the bowling writing in the Jackson Citizen Patriot, and that has to promote a lot of interest in this particular tournament.
It certainly promoted a lot of interest towards Chip's way. He's kind of the crowd favorite right now. He has a lot of friends and family, and we'll find that out when we get to the final match.
I think you're right about that.
Of our final 5 bowlers, Bob Ladd, the senior member?
Bob Ladd's the senior member of the final 5. This tournament has been in existence 22 years. Bob has made the final 12, 19 out of those 22 years. A remarkable record. Nobody in this town is even close to that.
He's the only past champion in the 5?
Right, only past champion in the 5. He won in 1967 here in this house. He also won in 1973 at Airport. This man can bowl in any house, and you put some oil out there, and he is tough. This is a good condition for Bob Ladd.
He's a middle of the lane bowler, right?
He likes to play inside, and that's where he's playing now. I was kidding him a little bit before he started yesterday. We qualified together. We bowled on the same team on Wednesday nights and have for years.
Here's Marty Craven, first frame. Marty picks up right where he left off.
Good break for Marty. He was high in the pocket, but because he's playing inside and the ball does not finish real hard for him, he can trip that 4-7 in the corner. That's a good shot for him. He would rather be high in the pocket rather than light in the pocket.
Because he throws a slower ball?
And the ball does not finish real hard. So he can kick out that corner, that 4-7. And because the ball doesn't finish real hard, he has trouble getting the 5 out on the light here.
Solid 10 for Bob to start out.
Good shot for Bob. He's playing probably a little deeper inside, and his ball will finish a little bit more than Marty's for a couple of reasons. One is he turns the ball a little bit harder, and he throws it a little bit slower. Seems to be that throwing the ball a little slower in this house helps. Part of the reason is the pins are relatively light. They're 3 pounds 2 ounces and 3 pounds 3 ounces mixed in the rack, and that's a relatively light pin.
Just caught it. Good pickup for Bob to start out.
That ball did not hook much. Bob Ladd is a very tough competitor. He will not lose this match because he's nervous. He may lose, but he may not lose because he won't lose because he's nervous.
This is a little bit different situation for some of the bowlers going head-to-head in a roll-off like this. Are you used to a 3-game series?
We're used to 3-game series and bowling as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And your individual performance means very, very little except in your own mind.
Bob Ladd, second frame.
Right there. Oh, Bob.
And that ball slid a little past the pocket. He's playing deeper inside than Marty. He's playing almost 4th arrow. I was talking to Bob yesterday before he started, and I said, where are you going to play, Bob? And he said 9th or 10th board, and I said, gee, I didn't think that was really the spot for you. I thought you'd be in more around 4th arrow, where several of the other players were playing that we qualified with. And he said, oh, maybe I'll try it there. Well, apparently it worked. And he's been playing 4th arrow here in the semifinals, and it's done very well.
Good cover.
Past the 2th end, the cover. Bob is also using a different ball right now than he used most of the 6 games that were bowled earlier today. He started with this ball, a relatively soft plastic ball, the first game today, and then switched to a harder ball. Now he's back to the softer ball again because they re-oiled.
Good. Solid strike for Marty Craven in the second frame. Opens up with a double.
Beautiful shot and takes a 13-pin lead. Marty seems to have the stroke. Going very well.
Marty's really settled in a groove here. We're in the 3rd frame of match 2.
Going for a 23-pin lead. He hit the 3rd arrow.
Little high. Split.
He got the ball down a little bit fast. The ball did not get out over the line quite as far as he would like it. The ball jumped at the end, even though it was high in the pocket. There was a very similar hit to the one that he had in the first frame that he carried and got the 4-7 out of there. This time the ball jumped through a little bit. The ball chopped the 5 off the 9, and he's left a 4-9 split. This can be made. He has to throw the ball just by the 4-pin.
Close. If there's a little bit of video distortion in your set, it's not the fault of your receiver. We're having a little problem with our equipment here, so just bear with us.
Marty Craven now has 56 in the 3rd frame in an open. Bob is 17 in the 1st frame with a spare. Match is virtually even.
A bit light there for Bob.
Bob, on that ball, his approach was very quick to the line. Bob is a very, very good teacher. He can really analyze other people's problems really well. Tell them to change lines, tell them they're turning the ball too quickly, tell them their approach is real fast. And one of the things that he has always stressed is a very slow approach to the line.
Good pickup by Bob.
Much better timing on that. They're both through 3 frames now. Marty has a 1-pin lead.
Good shot. Good strike by Bob. He needed that one.
Good shot by Bob. Packed it in the pocket. The 4-pin was the last one to go out. But on the line that he's playing now, he will probably carry that hit almost every time.
Here's Marty Craven in the 4th frame.
1-pin lead by Marty.
Solid 10 for Marty.
Solid 10, the 6 went in the channel right in front of the 10-pin and wouldn't kick it out. A real good shot. Maybe he threw it just a hair fast. Just a hair slower, the ball probably would have carried. But his normal shot is that particular speed. I don't think he's throwing it harder than he normally does. Good solid cover there.
Good cover by Marty Craven.
Bowlers of this caliber here should be expected to make spares.
Mm-hmm.
They should be expected to make a mark on the 10th frame to win the game. But it's more than you really would expect for them to have to throw a double in the 10th, 2 strikes in the 10th to win.
There it is, there it is. Solid strike for Marty Craven in the 5th frame.
He has a 1-pin lead now. Bob can take the lead, though, with a strike here. I didn't mean to infer that if anybody gets up there in the 10th frame, they have no chance of throwing a double. When you average 195 to 200, you should be expected to get a mark, but not necessarily a double. Maybe the pros, you could expect them to get a double, but that's the way we feel about it in team play anyway. I think that's not much different than here.
Right in the pocket, left to 7.
This should be an easy spare for most right-handers, but we've always given Bob a lot of flack over the years about him having trouble making the 7-pin.
Any reason for that?
I don't know.
Psychological?
It turns out to be a mental block sometimes.
He had like a 140 game.
He's moved to the right on the approach,
Then he went to another game.
and we'll shoot it across the line. That'll make it.
Good cover.
He plays that in different positions. In certain establishments, he'll play that from the left side, which is a very unusual way to play it. But he feels that certain houses, when they have a lot of oil in the middle of the alley, it's hard to throw it across that oil into the dry area. He prefers to play it down the dry area. It's an unusual way of playing that shot, and not many of us do that. And he's had trouble with that, but he made it easily here. So.
Here's Bob Ladd, 6th frame. In the pocket, there it is.
Very good.
Good strike for Bob.
Now, that was a very similar hit. That was a good shot. A very similar hit to the one Marty threw 2 frames ago in the 4th frame, where he left the 10-pin on the right-hand alley. But Bob's ball was a little bit slower, and the 6-pin went in the channel and leaned on the 10 and knocked it out. When the ball is thrown a little harder, the 6 tends to go in the channel and around behind the 10-pin and not hit it. So speed is very critical.
Marty.
Okay now.
No confusion right now whether there's 10 pins up there. Marty seems to think so, yeah.
Marty had to re-rack.
The 7 pin.
The 7 pin was not down. Now he has re-racked and everything's okay.
There it is, there it is. Left the 8.
Just a hair light in the pocket. The ball did hit the 5 and got the 5 out of there, but the 5 slid in front of the 8. This should be an easy spare for him.
Unlike the first match, we have a very close match this time around.
He made it.
Good cover by Marty.
It gives him a spare in the 6th and 96 in the 5th. Ladd has 95 in the 5th and a strike in the 6th. So Marty is ahead by 1 pin, but we consider Ladd having a ball advantage on him, which means that if Ladd throws a strike in the 7th frame, regardless what Marty does right here, Ladd will have the lead.
Marty Craven would spare up in the 7th. Little high, got away with it.
A little high, he broke up his split and has a 4-7. He should make this easily.
Pick up, Marty.
Gives him 114 in the 6th.
Marty's the youngest bowler in our final 5 right now, and he's been very consistent throughout the week. Good pickup by Marty Craven.
Marty's 20 years old. And I believe he's the youngest to ever make the final 5. That's a big ball for Bob Ladd. He has a 1-pin lead. He has a strike in the 6th. Strike here will give him an 11-pin lead.
Good shot. He picked it up.
Good shot there. He was light in the pocket. The ball caught the 5-pin and tipped it over. The 4 went in the channel and knocked out the 7. A very good shot. And Again, because his ball was slow, he got that strike. If he'd thrown it a little bit harder, the ball would have deflected farther to the right, and it never would have gotten the 5-pin out.
Bob Ladd, 8th frame with a double up.
Going for a 21-pin lead with this strike right here.
A little bit light, left to 5.
He knew he was going to leave that as soon as he threw it. He didn't get the ball out on the lane quite as well as he would have liked to. It was the same hit as he had on the last frame, but the ball didn't finish quite as hard, so it didn't quite catch the 5. Easy spare.
You could read lips. You could see Bob say he dropped it as he was coming back. Just caught it. Just caught it. Bob Ladd just caught it. The dust on the edge of the ball caught it, right?
That's right. That was probably not the best shot Bob Ladd ever threw, but it was a spare. He now has a 10-pin lead through 8 frames. Marty Craven is in the 8th frame, 114 in the 6th, a spare in the 7th. He needs a strike right here.
There it is. 5, left to 5. Couldn't carry it through.
The balls are not finishing very hard playing this particular angle. The ball doesn't dive at the end. They're having trouble getting the 5-pin out. It's an easy spare, but he'll be 11 pins down with a cover. And with only 2 frames to go, he's going to need some strikes.
Marty picks up his spare. Marty be bowling in the 9th. Down by 11 pins.
Ninth frame is the setup frame. You always want to strike in the 9th because you got a chance for 2 more in the 10th.
Solid.
Loud noise tell you that one.
Big strike for Marty Craven.
Very big
Foundation frame.
Foundation frame, he's possible 213. Now, Bob Ladd will finish first. He's going to bowl in the 9th and then the 10th. Bob Ladd can get a strike here and 2 in the 10th, and that will close out Marty Craven. Marty Craven will not be able to win if Bob throws 3 strikes in a row.
Then, good. Pressure strike for Bob Ladd.
Good shot. The ball went way out over the line. That's what Bob Ladd teaches. Throw that ball way out over the line so the ball finishes late. You'd want that ball to hook late, not real early. When you drop the ball or you set it down near the foul line, the ball hooks and then rolls out. Rolling out means it does not finish as hard as you'd like it to, and that's when you leave the corner pins. Here's a big strike for Bob.
Right in there.
Right there.
Strike. Double up for Bob Ladd.
Now, a 9-pin count and a spare will force Marty Craven to throw 3 strikes to tie. A strike right here will close out Marty, regardless what Marty does in the 10th frame. Bob is 164 in the 8th, strike in the 9th, strike in the 10th. This ball will close out Marty Craven with a strike. If he does not get a strike, Marty will still have room to tie or win if Bob doesn't get a strike.
Little high. Ooh, he got away with it.
Got away with it. He did
Up to
get
10.
9 and insured himself of at least a tie if he can fill the frame, if he makes this spare.
You mentioned earlier, Bob has a little trouble with the 7. How's he fare with the 10-pin?
10-pin is ordinarily not much problem for him. He'll move extreme left, throw the ball directly at the pin because it should not hook much. Pulled it a little bit, but it will sail.
Ooh, he just skimmed it.
See, that ball just slid as it got near the pin, and he did cover the 10-pin for 213.
Outstanding game for Bob Ladd.
Crowd's giving Marty a lot of encouragement now. He needs 3 strikes in the 10th to tie. 213 for Ladd, 153 in the 8th, and a strike in the 9th for Craven. 3 strikes will tie.
Looks high.
tough break. He
Left
threw
it.
a real
Left
good
the four.
shot when he needed it. He left a 4-pin. A spare and a strike will give him 193, and it'll make Bob Ladd the winner.
Good hand there for Marty Craven, the youngest bowler in the tournament. And Bob Ladd, the winner, here in round 2. Marty's had a great week. There it is. Strike for Marty.
193 for Marty Craven. A very, very good tournament.
A great match right there. Be seeing a lot more of Marty in a few years, I
Oh,
think.
no doubt about that. And he certainly ought to be bowling in the Classic and some of the higher average leagues. And that's going to improve his game. This tournament right here will improve his game, having bowled as well as he did. Very impressive showing.